How's it going, everybody? My name's Shane. Welcome back to the Horror Basement, and today I'm covering a much acclaimed and much requested movie. We're talking about The Menu, the new horror satire film from just in the end of last year, 2022. So, in lieu of doing a normal review for this film, because if you don't know already, The Menu is completely centered around the experience of gourmet or high end food. I am going to be breaking this review down into three courses for you and basically explaining why I think the movie works so well as a satire. Now, in regards to the kind of what we talk about here on the channel, in regards to the horror elements, I wouldn't say the I wouldn't say the menu is particularly scary. It's more of a, if you strip away the satire elements, it's more of a thriller. But there definitely is some gory and some gruesome moments. So just be aware of that if you're not a gore fan going in. Now, now if you look at me as a person, you might rightly assume that I know my way around some food, but I'm sure like 99.9% of you out there, I have literally next to no knowledge of the gourmet or super top tier high end food industry beyond the words Gordon Ramsay, which I don't even particularly know that much about. Uh, but nevertheless, I found the satire very compelling and darkly funny in moments, and I think you will too if you sit down and watch the film. Now, the first course for us today is the appetizer or the appetizers, and this is all of the dickheads and assholes that make up the victims in this movie. Now, the premise of the film is that our main character is going on a date to a very exclusive high end gourmet restaurant that is on an isolated island. And on the boat ride over there, we meet the other attendees of this function who comprise the aforementioned dickheads. So, and it's why I think these are such compelling characters to watch slowly get tortured and killed, is because they basically represent every aspect of wealth and privilege in American or Western society. So to break it down, we have Lillian and Ted, who are Lillian is a high end food critic. Richard and Anne are just our old money Rockefeller type couple, like they've like generational wealth basically. George and Felicity is a washed up celebrity, and his assistant, who is he is presumably also in a relationship with. And then we have our trio, who are Soren, Dave, and Bryce, who are three like dickhead investment bros. And finally, rounding out our cast of victims is probably the main appetizer or the centerpiece of our bad people that get what's coming to them is Tyler. Now, Tyler is a big fan of who I'm about to talk about as our main course, and due to his wealth, which is never really explained the origin of, he is given special access. So on top of all these other the industry insiders, the old money celebrities, investment douchebags, we have Tyler who is his sin is buying access. Now, if in a different life, Tyler could be like the son of a rich guy who decides to be a pro race car driver and gets hooked up with an Indy car, or he could be playing shortstop on a minor league baseball team because baseball is his thing. But gourmet food is Tyler's thing, and he manages to basically buy his way in to the good graces of our main course, who is, of course, the mastermind behind the Night of Mayhem, uh, Chef Slowick. Portrayed brilliantly and very cold and calculating maniacally by Ralph Fiennes. Uh, Slowick is his tragic backstory is basically he's the man who sold the world. Throughout the movie, we get glimpses of his life, where he basically started as this young upstart in the gourmet food world, and dedicated his life to the craft, and became essentially the best. But because of this, he now only sells food to the richest of the rich, and he now finds he basically his job is creating all this very fancy food for all the assholes we talked about in part one who don't appreciate it. So this is his. So basically, he is a a mission oriented serial or mass murderer because he has lured all these people who he had in some way or shape or form business with in the past to his island so he can all murder them fantastically in food based ways. Now the only hiccup in Slowick's plan is I guess she would be the dessert if we're going appetizer, entree, dessert. The dessert of this film is Margot, played by Anna Taylor Joy. Now, our little buddy Tyler, he was supposed to bring his rich high society girlfriend with him to this murder dinner, but she ended up unsurprisingly dumping his ass. So he ends up bringing Margot instead. Now, Margot is a hard scrabble prostitute who is not one of the basically the victim type for Slowick, and this basically means that she is the monkey wrench in the evening's plan. And even before all the murder starts, you can tell that Margot is not having any of this fancy crap. Now, the main sin of Slowick, other than all the homicide, is that despite the fact that he calls out all these rich idiots on their bullshit, he is still buying in to the central conceit of the gourmet food industry that everything has to be this like big to do and presentation, and it's not really what you're feeding people, it's what you're presenting to them, or it's the idea or the story you're weaving with the food. So over the course of the movie, a bunch of people get beat up and killed and drowned and all this, but the movie comes to a climax where Margot, towards the end of the evening, finally snaps at Slowick and says, Your food is loveless and joyless. You've done a terrible job, and I'm still fucking hungry. Make me a cheeseburger." And this brings us to the best little cooking montage in the entire film, because Slowick takes her up on her offer and cooks what looks like the best burger you've ever had in your life. Like, I was literally like salivating and grunting at the screen while he put this burger together because it looked so good. And true to their agreement, uh, Margot takes a couple bites of the burger, pays Slowick $10 for it, gets a to-go box, and dips out of the island while Slowick and the rest of the cast of characters engulf themselves in flames while covered in the ingredients of s'mores. So why I feel that this movie works as a whole is the mixture of these three elements. We enjoy the straight laced, like right at the camera villainy of Slowick. We enjoy it because he is basically calling out, the wealth and privilege of his victims. So he makes a compelling villain, but Margot ends up being his foil as well, eventually calling him on his bullshit and because of that, getting freed. So overall, it's a very intense at times, but yet also darkly funny film. I enjoyed it a lot. I hope you will too if you go check it out. Let me know what you thought about the menu. Let me know what else you want me to cover in the comments, and I'll see y'all next time. Thank you.